Hey, welcome to the Elle Russ Show, where we explore ways to get healthy, wealthy, and wise. With a combination of guest interviews and solo episodes, I hope you will be inspired and motivated to become the best of whatever you are. I'm Elle Russ, #1 best-selling author and subject expert with over a decade of helping thousands of people across the globe. Visit my website, elleruss.com, to learn more about free guides, masterclasses, online courses, and more. Enjoy the show. All right. Today, I'm going to talk about how to stop being a behavior beggar. Behavior beggar. What's that? I want to dive into this powerful sort of eye-opening topic. It's all about recognizing when you're begging for better behavior from others and how to shift that mindset to one that values your worth, setting firm boundaries, all that kind of stuff. So you don't have to settle for lack of respect. How can you demand, the treatment you want? So let's talk about what a behavior beggar, that's what I call it. But being a behavior beggar means you're continuously accepting and even pleading for basic respect and decency. It's when you find yourself constantly trying to convince someone to treat you better, hoping that they're changing or that they will change, but all you get are the bare minimum efforts. But you keep sort of trying to convince them to treat you better. So this mindset, this behavior beggar mindset, it's low self-worth, guys. It's where you believe any attention or respect might be better than none. So what are the psychological, emotional impacts of this? Well, like when you're living in this kind of state, it severely affects your mental and emotional health. It leads to feelings of inadequacy, depression, sometimes anxiety even. You start to doubt your worth and believe maybe you do deserve this treatment. Maybe you're okay with this. You're settling. You're playing the dance in your mind. Well, there's this over here, so I guess this is the price of admission. I think Dan Savage famously said that about relationships, like what's the price of admission? Sometimes that price is too fucking high. The other emotional impact is this creates a vicious cycle because it's like the more you beg, the less respect you're going to receive, and then the more your self-esteem suffers. Like it could be something like getting belittled. Imagine being in a relationship where your partner constantly belittles you. You keep asking them to stop. You explain how it hurts you, but they never change. I mean, they might throw you a small gesture of kindness once in a while, just sort of to, keep you hoping for more, but that's no good. I'm going to take you through some more examples. We'll go through some light ones and some serious ones. Okay. So I gave you the one about being belittled. Okay, so a light one could be household chores, right? Like, let's say it could be a roommate. Imagine your roommate's leaving dishes in the sink constantly. You keep asking them to clean up after themselves. You're explaining how it's a mess and all of that kind of stuff, but they only clean up occasionally. So each time they do, it's just enough maybe to keep you from complaining again, like one of those moves. So it could be with that. It could be with inconsistent communication. So you could picture a friend who constantly cancels plans at the last minute. Maybe you're always expressing your disappointment. You're asking them to be more reliable, but again, they only occasionally follow through. And again, those rare times they show up make you keep hoping somehow they'll change, and they got it. And they usually keep disappointing. I had a friend like this in high school who was always late. She was so late. It was like sometimes an hour late, 2 hours late to meet us somewhere. So we would lie to her, right, and have to tell her that it was a certain time that it wasn't because we knew she'd be late. Occasionally she'd show up on time. But it was so rare. It was so annoying, by the way. Not really friends with her anymore, probably as a result of that. There's also minor annoyances. So let's say it could be like a coworker who frequently interrupts you during meetings. Right? Maybe you ask them to let you finish speaking. Once in a while they do. But again, those small moments of respect are somehow giving you hope that they'll stop, but the behavior continues. Of course, there's serious examples, right? Like emotional manipulation. If you have a partner that uses guilt tripping you to get their way, you ask them to stop, all that kind of stuff. But again, the rare moments of consideration kind of keep some hope that they'll change. And I talk about this often. I have mentioned this many times over the airwaves. It's a false sense of hope for consistency. Let me put that on you again. This kind of shit, when you don't draw a boundary or you keep putting up with stuff, it's you have a false sense of hope for consistency. And that's why you're okay with these crumbs. I'm not okay with crumbs. I'm okay with consistency. I'm only about people that are consistent. I'm consistent. That's another thing. If you do want to be with someone that's like that, you might want to try to exude those qualities yourself. But the serious examples, right? Like, so guilt tripping, verbal abuse, of course, if someone just really just yelling at you, putting you down. But then again, these people, right? They have moments of kindness. I don't know, rope you in, keep you there, hoping maybe they'll be more consistent with it. That's the change you're hoping to see. You're hoping to see the person be consistent about a behavior you want them to do that they're not doing. Usually never happens. Then there's the serious sort of angle like gaslighting, right? If you're in a relationship where you're constantly getting gaslit, which is making you doubt your own perceptions or even your own memories, you could confront that. You could, right? But maybe they only stop once in a while. It's ongoing manipulation. There's physical intimidation. Obviously, that's a different story. If someone's using physical intimidation with you, blocking your way, raising a hand to stop you. Obviously, infidelity would be a very serious one. A person who keeps cheating on you, you confront them, they promise to be faithful, blah, blah. You hold on, hoping they'll change, keeps getting betrayed. You see where this is going. So, obviously, not all behaviors are deal breakers, right? Some annoyances, like your partner leaving crumbs after eating or forgetting to close the toothpaste cap, that can kind of be worked on together, and that might be a price of admission thing, like not that bad. Like these are issues that are minor, that are irritating, but they don't reflect like a fundamental disrespect or a fundamental lack of care. So they're minor. But then there's like, and that's compromisable behavior, right? But uncompromisable behavior, those are the behaviors you don't compromise on. Those are the verbal abuse, the gaslighting, the consistent disrespect, physical harm, emotional harm. If someone's belittling you, making you question your reality, undermining your confidence, these are flags. Don't ignore them. And it's important to distinguish this because, compromising on the wrong things damages your self-esteem. I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone compromise on something just because it's the desire of the other person. It's like when your parents were like, oh, well, if, Jenny jumped off a bridge, would you jump off one too? Right? But like that has a lot of truth and reality kind of thing. The power of self-worth and boundaries is what gets you out of it. Because self-worth is really the foundation of all healthy relationships, friendships, romantic, work colleagues. Because when you love yourself and value yourself, you're setting the standard for how others treat you. You understand that your worth means recognizing you deserve respect, kindness, love, without having to fucking beg for it. And also this whole like behavior begging, there's already better behavior out there. Okay, so you're wasting time with people that are exuding this when there's already other people in the world that are consistent, great behavior peeps. So you got to figure out what you're willing to tolerate and not tolerate, and then you have to stand by it because nothing means anything when you put your foot down on something and then just let someone walk all over you. That's where consistency is key. You need to have consistency in your boundaries. And the funny part about this is the person who is in this, who's like putting up with bad behavior, you have that false sense of hope for consistency. You want them to be consistent. Yet you yourself aren't being consistent on the shit that you're trying to tell this person. Stop doing this to me. Stop. You're not being consistent. Not surprised it's not working out that way. The only way to get consistent is to put your foot down, draw the boundary. That may mean the end of the relationship, friendship, work, whatever, but that's what has to be done. Otherwise, you're just sending the message that your boundaries can be ignored. And again, I'm not saying like yell your boundaries at the person. Boundaries can be calmly, assertively. I talk about so many of these examples in my confidence masterclass and confidence course on how usually people who haven't drawn boundaries and aren't good at it feel that somehow speaking up about it is going to be contentious. This is something I talk about in a lot of episodes and a lot of my work. It doesn't have to be. You can present it in a different tone. How it's received is a different story. So you got to shift from begging for behavior person to empowerment, right? So let's talk about someone who may be, I know so many people who are in toxic friendships who felt constantly belittled or like they were being led around by someone. And I look, after years of sort of begging for that better treatment, finally set a firm boundary and just ended the friendship. Massive boost in self-esteem. And then you begin to attract healthier relationships. You know, when you shift from begging to empowerment, what you're doing is you're getting the benefits of improved mental health, healthier and more respectful relationships, and definitely a stronger sense of self. You kind of just, you start to, over time, you start to realize that you deserve it inherently, that you don't need to beg for this respect or kindness, that you deserve it inherently. So, what are the practical steps here? Well, first, just reflect on your current relationships. Where do you have any begging for better behavior stuff going on? Okay, if you do, then great. Build your self-worth. Positive affirmations, self-care, reading, take my confidence masterclass, surround yourself with supportive people. And then you got to start practicing and setting, or basically you have to practice setting boundaries, but also maintaining. So you need to practice setting and maintaining. Setting and maintaining. Here it is, and now I'm maintaining it, right? You can't call me anymore, only email me unless it's an emergency. And then they call you and you pick up. Nope, that's not maintaining the boundary. Oh, hi. Oh, is this an emergency? Oh, it's not? Okay, well, email me. Click, right? That's how you handle that. Self-reflection. Maybe it's time to journal about your relationships. I've got a great free confidence ebook and workbook on my website under free stuff. Go take a look at that. And you can journal about this. You can write down specific instances and your feelings about them, how you would do it differently. What boundary might you draw in the future? Build your self-worth if you're in this stuff, because you need to then engage in activities that are going to make you feel good. So if it's hobby, exercise, spending time with family, just prioritize things that boost your confidence. Maybe for you, that's like getting a facial and dyeing your hair. Like, I don't know, whatever self-care, confidence boosting things you can do that make you feel good. Obviously, positive affirmations. And if you don't know this too, I have a free audiobook, completely a free audiobook, all about amazing positive affirmations for confidence and abundance and health. So you need to build the self-worth. You need to enforce boundaries. You can gradually work up to bigger ones and start with small ones. So you don't have to beg for better treatment. There already is better out there. You deserve it by recognizing uncompromisable behaviors, okay? So recognize these uncompromisable behaviors you're dealing with. Value your self-worth and start to set some firm boundaries. I encourage you to get on this today. Also, share your journey with me. Happy to hear from you. I'm mostly on Instagram, but I'm on all of the social media channels. A lot to think about here. Worth analyzing where in your life you might need to shore up some of these areas. All right. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this show, I would so appreciate you leaving a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And to learn more about partner discounts on amazing products, visit elleruss.com/discounts.